Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in your world. I am Ricki Mckenna, and this is Ricki's Kitchen, and this is USA Global TV's United Kitchens. So welcome all. I am a certified nutritionist and a chef. I'm an author. You can get my book on Amazon. It's called Yes, You Can Eat Well and Eat Right, and it looks like this. And it's loaded with about 30 recipes, but it's a lot of fun because it has food history and some little incidents and some little fun stuff in there. Information about food that you can use, or you can just play with it. And so welcome to the kitchen. There's the book. You can get it on Amazon, or you can get it from rickiskitchen.net, which you'll see at the bottom of the screen. And today, since it's been so darn hot all across the country here, and I am in Houston, Texas, and it is hot, we're going to make a cool salsa salad. What I found with this, I've made it before, and the results have been absolutely fabulous, is that people love it. And it's something cool and refreshing that you can eat by itself as a salad, or you can use it to serve with something like chicken, fish, even beef fajitas, something like that, because it's got a bunch of good stuff in it, including serrano peppers. And so with no further ado, we will get started. It calls for peaches, nectarines, avocados, lemon juice, and a whole bunch of other goodies. And to accompany it, actually, I'm going to make some pasta. So we're actually keeping it a vegan meal if you want to do that. So I'm going to start with my peaches and nectarines and see. I'm going to cut them into little tiny bite-sized pieces as you would for a salsa. And let's hope that this, yay, oh good. Always look for something, a peach or a nectarine that's just slightly ripe, because when it's just slightly ripe, then you can usually cut it and it will open up as that just did. And let's get a little more focus on the food here. Here we go. Ah, now you can see all the goodies. Okay, so I'm going to take my peach, and actually I'm going to use my favorite knife and cut it into bite-sized pieces, kind of dicing it. You can dice it or cut it into larger pieces, whatever you choose. I'm going to make it into the bite-sized pieces so it's easy for people to eat, and it can either, as I say, accompany a meat or a fish, or as we're going to do some linguine to go with it. And our second recipe for today, you get a bonus, you get 2 recipes. Besides the peach and nectarine salsa, we're also going to do a lemon parsley pasta, which is absolutely wonderful with this. And the fun part is you can serve it hot or cold, which is really nice. Because especially in this weather, if you want to serve something on your patio or even indoors and you want to keep cool, then it's nice to have a recipe that you can do with either something hot like fajitas or chicken, as I said, or something cold, as we'll do with the pasta. So we're just going to cut up one big nectarine. And let's see if we can dice that nicely. As you notice, there's no peeling, and I am a fan of scrub, don't peel, especially when it comes to root vegetables and things of that nature, because when you take out the skins, you're taking out part of the nutrition, especially in the mineral and vitamin department, which is what you want. So there, I think I've got enough with just the one, and I'm going to take a peach, a nectarine. Sometimes they're hard to distinguish, except the nectarine, of course, doesn't have peach fuzz. Okay, here we go. Aha, this is what I was talking about. They usually will, hopefully will come right apart from the pit or the stone, and this one's not going to do it, so we'll just slice it and take it off. And that's about the easiest way to do that. Okay, and we'll just pull those pieces off, leaving the stone in the middle. And there we go. And chop that up. So we've got the peach and the nectarine. And when you see the recipe, I'm cutting it in half. So instead of using 2 peaches and 2 nectarines, and you'll see why, because the volume is pretty darn good. And since there's just 2 of us here today, we're going to make half the recipe, because you want to keep this fresh and cool. It's really delicious, and it serves as a nutritional meal, and there's no cooking unless you make your pasta or other accompaniments. So here we go. One more little slice, and I think we've got it. And then I'm going to wash my hands because I'm full of peach and nectarine juice. There we go. And there. I just wanted to show you that it can be done. Wash off my messy paws, as my friend and fellow chef Simon would say. And so then we'll put the rest of this into the big bowl. You can double it and use it as it's written if you like. But as I said, since there are 2 of us, I've chosen to cut it in half. Or actually almost 2/3. We'll put it that way, because we like the scallions to go into it. And I'm going to put in 2 out of 3 that it calls for, as soon as I wipe up my surface here, so that things don't go sliding all over the place. And I'm going to cut up my tomatoes first. So we'll cut up those and get the juice off. You can use Roma tomatoes, which is one of the things it calls for. But since I didn't have any Roma tomatoes, I'm just using little Campari tomatoes, because frankly, I prefer the flavor of the Camparis to most of the tomatoes, unless they're heirlooms. And so I'm just going to cut them up into small bite-sized pieces, as you would for a salsa. And then we'll put those in. So so far we've got peaches, nectarine, and we'll have tomatoes. And then I will cut in some scallions. And we'll make the sauce. That's where the flavor really comes from, actually, from the cilantro, and we use both lemons and lime juice for the sauce. Okay, now we'll wipe up the rest of this juice and proceed. There we go. Okay. Next, we will take our serrano, and you can seed it or not. If you don't seed the serrano or any other pepper like this, it tends to be quite hot and spicy, and be really careful when you're doing something like this not to bring your hands anywhere near your face, especially your eyes. And this one is loaded with seeds that I'm going to eliminate. We will take out the seeds. I'll cut it in half and then remove the seeds. I think you can see it. That's one side. And of course, this adds a little pizzazz to the whole thing, especially with the sweetness from the peaches and the nectarine. And there go. Actually, I might put a little more of the nectarine in just to balance it out, because the peach was quite a bit larger than the nectarine. So you can choose to, choose your sizes and see if you get something that's fairly even for both of them. I'm going to take the seeds out. And I'm also going to give my hands a rinse, just in case. And I will tell you that the serrano peppers, although they're little, they're pretty sharp. So I'm going to carefully dice my serrano. And let's see, this way. And into tiny, tiny little dicey pieces so that it spreads out through the whole salsa. And it's not quite concentrated in any one area, we hope. But it does add some great flavor. Okay, there we go. I'm not sure if you can see this, but it is diced tiny, and I'll bring it up so you can see it. There we go. And we'll just scatter that in there. Of course, this is going to cause me to wash my hands one more time, but that's okay. Just to make sure, I used a little bit of soap. And now we're doing our scallions, and we use both the greens and the white. And we'll just slice them really tiny. Slice them, dice them. I'm just going to slice instead of dicing. So we'll have a little bit of kind of the chunky scallions, or green onions, however you prefer to call them. And I have to tell you, I can still smell the aroma from the serrano pepper. It's that strong, even though the aroma from the scallions is beginning to rise. And it's an interesting mix. Okay. There we go. So we've got peach, nectarine, serrano pepper, scallions, and tomatoes. And basically, that's it. And I'm going to take my wooden spoons because you don't want to bruise it. You just want to mix the fruit. And I'm going to add an avocado. Actually, I'm going to probably add 2 avocados because that's one of my favorite foods. It's also an excellent source of omega-3 fats. And we do need fats because without fats in your diet, the good stuff from, from avocados and nuts and other sources like this, without that, you don't absorb your vitamins A, D, E, and K, which are all very important for your good health, especially in today's crazy world with we're probably all running around in some sort of a toxic soup in the environment. So we want to take as much cautions as we can using food to help us stay healthy. I'm a firm believer in food as medicine. And so here we go. Now I'm not going to toss the pit because if you've ever made guacamole or anything with avocados, you want to reserve the pit so that you can put it into the salad. And I'm just going to dice up my avocado into tiny bite-sized pieces as well. And there we go. And add that. And again, add it gently because you don't want to squish it. And we will put that in. And as I said, the same with the peach and the nectarine. You want them to be firm and slightly pliable, but not squishy. They're easier and tastier if they're at that point where they're just firm enough to be pliable and delicious. So I think actually the one avocado is going to do it. Okay, let's take this off. Gets kind of messy, but it's fun. Good stuff. So I'm going to gently toss it again, just a little, just to mix things a little bit and make sure that everything's in there. I can see every piece of green from the serrano and all the scallions and the peach. It's so pretty. Have a look. And so now we're going to whip up our dressing. And let's see if I'm missing anything. Okay, we need about a tablespoon of olive oil. That looks pretty good. And I'm using an olive oil that is really very good. It's not anything particularly special, but it's meant to be used in salads and to be eaten with such things as bread dipping and so forth. It's a little bit higher quality and a little bit tastier than some of the oils that you can use for cooking. I'm going to add a little fresh pepper and a little kosher salt. Not a lot, because we're going to have a combination of salt and sweet in this whole bowl full of salad. Now, if my salt grinder cooperates, we'll be able to put the salt in. That's very interesting. Okay, let's try some other salt. I'll just take some salt here, a little pinch, and put that in. And I have a pot of water boiling, just about boiling on the range. I'm going to mix up my salt, pepper, and olive oil. Then we shall squeeze in a couple of limes. And you can't make too much dressing as far as I'm concerned, because this is the kind of thing that you can use on other foods as well, on other salads. So it's a combination of lemons and limes. And the taste, when you make this and you taste it, you'll see what I'm talking about. The flavors are absolutely superb, especially with the combination. You'd think it's kind of strange to combine the lemons and limes, but they work beautifully together in this sauce. Okay. All right, there's my lime. One more squeeze. I'm a firm believer in getting every bit of juice out of these little guys as possible. There. Okay. And now we'll take our lemon. And actually, if you want to measure, it's a tablespoon. Excuse me. It's a tablespoon each of the lemon juice and a tablespoon of the lime juice. And since we're close there. I'm just kind of approximating, since I've done this before. You don't have to be that specific with this kind of dressing, except to eliminate the seeds. Here we go. Okay. I think I may add just a little bit more, another half a lemon. And let's give it a taste first. We got the salt, pepper, and lemon and lime juice and olive oil. And as you can see, the dressing's pretty juicy. It's not a thick or heavy dressing because we're going to keep all this pretty light. Yum. Needs a little bit more lemon. And the reason I say that is because the olive oil is predominating at this point. And I want a little less olive oil or oily. I want more of a light lemony flavor. And I'm going to deposit the multiple amount of seeds in the sink. There. Okay. Carefully squeezing my lemon. And I love this juicer because it collects all the juice in the bottom and leaves all the seeds, theoretically, in the top part where there's a screen. Let's give that a taste. Better. Very lemony. So, let's see, what am I going to do? I know what I can do. I'm going to take a half a cup of fresh cilantro, or thereabouts, cilantro leaves, and we will cut those up, chop them up, and add them to the salad. And this will absorb some more of the dressing, of course. And also, cilantro is one of those wonderful herbs that is extremely good for your blood system. It helps to remove heavy metals, as well as make things taste really good. That is, if you're a fan of cilantro, and sometimes you can put it into foods where people don't even know it's there, and it just adds a very special lift. So I'm going to take my cilantro, and as I said, you can add as much as you want, and this dressing will keep beautifully in a bottle. As a matter of fact, I'll show you mine. I have some from the last time I made it a few days ago. So I've got actually about a quarter of a cup, and I'm going to sprinkle a little directly into the salad or salsa, and the rest of it in my dressing. Okay. And mix up my dressing. As you can see, it's now pretty green. Okay. Now I'm not tossing this. These will go into a smoothie later on today. And you can keep them in the refrigerator, put them in a glass, and they'll stay beautifully. Let's see now. Again, I'm going to toss lightly and circulate the cilantro. Now, if you're going to serve it immediately, which I will right after our show, you can put the dressing on it now and let it flavor everything. Just get a little bit of it. I'm going to do it by spoonful, just so I can see how much I'm using. I'm using a tablespoon and a half measurement. So I've got about 3 tablespoons here. There we go. And so I'm going to use about half of what's here. And the rest will go into a little jar and in the refrigerator. Or you can actually, since it has the lemon and lime juice, you can keep it in your pantry or wherever you keep your seasonings and spices, and that's about enough mixing. It will not go bad within a couple of days. Now, if you want, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to take this last part of the lemon. I'm going to turn my heat up so my water actually boils. And we are going to zest the lemon right on top of everything. I'm just zesting directly into the bowl. And I'll save another lemon because we're going to do the same thing with the pasta when we use the parsley and the lemon juice. This also makes it easier if you do this before you try to juice it. It makes it easier to juice the lemon or lime, whatever you're using, because it obviously softens the outside, so it will squish a little better. Here we go. Just a little bit of the lemon zest. And carefully keeping my fingers out of the way. Here we go. So we've got a little bit more to toss, and that's about it. Okay, now for the pasta. As I said, I've got my water boiling. I'm going to do a little cleanup here so we can bring the pasta out. I'm going to take my linguine, and this is for 2 people, so I'm taking about, if you were to take a diameter reading on it, it's about an inch or 2 centimeters. And I'm going to break it in thirds to put it in the pot. It's already got some boiling olive oil in it. There you go. I don't know if you can hear it. And we will let that cook for about 8 minutes. Excuse me. Towel hit the floor. And you can do more pasta if you like, but that's going to be enough for now. And especially, I always get requests as a nutritionist and a chef for meals for one. I know sometimes it's difficult. People feel as though it's only me, so why should I cook? Well, here's a good reason. For one thing, you know what you're getting in your food. And so I would recommend doing your own cooking at least a few days a week and not having to go out to either restaurants or to buy prepared meals. And also you'll enjoy what you make. And there are some dishes that can be kept refrigerated and used over again. And I'm a firm believer in things like leftovers. I consider that left is right, because I don't consider them leftovers. I consider them, let's recreate using the different foods. So at any rate, we're going to make another dressing for the pasta. I'm going to take what I've got here, which is a little bit lemony, so it's going to work perfectly for the pasta. And actually the salt's beginning to come through. But what I'm going to add to that is, let's see what else. Parsley. So actually I'm not going to use that. We're getting a nice fresh bowl and we'll start over. I could use that for the pasta as well as in the salsa. But I'm going to take some beautiful parsley. About, a small handful. This is Italian parsley, the flat leaf parsley. You can use the curly leaf parsley if you prefer that. We happen to like the flavor of the Italian parsley or flat leaf. And let's see where we're going to put that. Let me see. Did I forget something in there? You know what? You could put a little vinegar in here, but I'm not going to mess with it. You can use a sherry wine vinegar on top of the fruits and vegetables. And you could also use either a red wine vinegar or just the lemon and lime juice. And we're going to do the same thing here very similarly. And I usually either use angel hair or the linguine. And we're going to let me give that a little time. Got a few more minutes left there because we don't want it too soft. We want it al dente. And I'm going to zest the juice, or the zest from this lemon into the bowl. Actually, if I do it this way, I can show you how to do this. You can zest with your zester up so that you collect the zest inside the zester. And you can see approximately how much you're getting in there, which is a heck of a good idea. Because I want about a tablespoon. As I said, this is going to be very refreshing. The pasta, whether you eat it hot or cold. And I'll show you how this comes out. It's really fun watching it grow. And I've got kind of a small to medium-sized lemon. It's organic. It's been washed carefully, of course. Okay, now, here's my collection. You can see the zest. So we're going to start with the zest. And all you have to do is pop it in your bowl. And take my parsley and dice it. Chop it finely. or you can leave some pieces a little bit bigger. It will coat with the juice and the olive oil in it. We'll add olive oil in a few minutes. We'll just get this set up. Let's see, officially it calls for a half a bunch of flat leaf or curly parsley. So since I cut the recipe in half, we're using about 1/3 of a cup. And of course, this will not go in the trash. This too will go into the smoothie. And I find that smoothies with parsley are very refreshing. There's a lot of good minerals and vitamins in parsley, as well as there are in the cilantro. So here we have our parsley. And of course, you can reserve some of the parsley to use as a garnish. Okay, so to our lemon zest, we're going to add the parsley. Here we go. And I'm going to give that a mix with a fork. So I get the zest distributed with the parsley. And then I'm going to add another few tablespoons of lemon juice. So I have, again, 1.5 lemons left, which is perfect. I'm careful because I found out something. When I squeeze this, every once in a while, when I first got this wonderful device, I would squeeze it down very quickly. And I found that since it has this wonderful little bowl in it that collects all the seeds, you can see it, every once in a while, it would squirt. So I'm careful when I do my squeezing there. And our pasta should just about be ready now. Let's see. Yep. Okay, I'm going to turn it off and grab a strainer. You can use a colander or a tight strainer. I'm going to let it sit there for just another minute while I squeeze the other half of the lemon, just because I want it to be done and to be al dente. I think we're going to have enough just with this other half in the lemon juice department for our pasta, because we don't want to drown it, we just want to dress it. And then I'm going to add my olive oil. We'll do a couple of tablespoons of olive oil, or 1.5 tablespoons approximately. As I said, this is a very light, easy to do meal, and a little extra salt and some fresh pepper. And let me grab my pepper. It's a very similar dressing to the fruits, except it doesn't have the lime and the cilantro. So therein lies your difference and your difference in flavors. So let me just grab a little bit. I think there's plenty of salt actually in there, so I'm not going to add any salt to it. One of the things I've learned after years and years is when I'm using greens, for example, I made an asparagus, spinach, leek, and zucchini soup yesterday that I added very little salt to, because especially the leafy greens, the spinach, and even the asparagus have a lot of sodium content, so that I didn't want to add a lot of other salt to it. And it came out absolutely fabulously. So be really discerning when you start to add salt, because that's also something that people can add themselves after it's served. Okay, so we have just about everything in there now. Let's see, lemon juice, zest, lemon, curly parsley, spaghetti. Let's take our angel hair or our fettuccine as we're using, or linguine today. I've used them all, so give it a little bit of rinse just to get the starches off. And make sure we drain it pretty well. You can see what I'm doing here. As I say, you can use a strainer or a colander. There we go. I've got most of the liquid out. And I have a lovely bowl here that I'm going to put it in. Let's see how well done it is. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to let the dressing sit for a little bit longer in there so that the parsley and the olive oil and the juices from the lemon really blend well. Give it a little bit more mashing. It's almost like making a mojito where you kind of muddle the mint. And actually what I'm going to add, since I think I have some fresh mint from my garden, let's give this a taste. Okay, let's add, I think I've got, well, yeah. This is fresh mint. I'm going to put a little bit of that in there. I'm just pulling off little pieces of mint leaves. You could do something like basil, fresh basil from your garden, or dried basil if you don't have any fresh. Just a little bit. Just to add to the flavors. And I'll take my pasta. Where's my pasta? And make sure that it's nice and loose so it will accept all the dressing. You can see that's one of the reasons I rinsed it, to keep the starch from making it stick together. But you want the dressing to be able to stick to it, so here we go. I'm going to make sure I get my parsley in there. Not so much of the liquid, that's why I didn't make a lot of it. But the parsley is what really flavors, and we'll toss it. And if you've never tossed with a pasta fork, it's fun. Okay. And there you have it, really. And let's put it in a serving dish and make it all pretty. You can use a pasta bowl, or you can use just a regular plate. And I can hear footsteps on the stairs, so someone may be coming in to sample all the goodies. And here we have the pasta with the parsley dressing. And on the side, we have our salsa. Or, as I said, you can use it as a salad. And not only is it delicious, but it's colorful as well. And I will take some of that parsley. Let's see. I'll put this out of the way. And make it pretty. We'll just trim it over here in the middle. And of course, everybody can also eat the parsley, which is actually wonderful for them. And let's see, we'll get some more out of here. And there you have it. We've got our peach nectarine and tomato salsa, and with a parsley, cilantro and lemon dressing. And now what I'm going to do, because we love avocados, is take another one and just take a couple of slices to add, not just as a garnish, but because we love avocados. And it also makes the plate pretty, as well as very filling and very good for you. Here we go. Well, maybe. There we go. Okay. And I always want to put things so that they form into the dish, so it brings people's eyes to the food. That's another thing when you're serving, to think about bringing people's eyes to the food. And it's like taking a picture with two people and having them face each other, or at least incline toward each other. It brings your eyes in. And so we'll make this not only pretty, but really yummy. That is, if I can get the peel off the avocado. This one's a little riper, so it's a little bit stickier to get the peel off. Okay. But it does make for a pretty plate. And I could leave it the way it is, just with the two pieces, but I just want to add a little bit more so you can see what I'm talking about. And if there are any comments in the chat, that would be lovely. And I'd like to hear from you. Let's see what people have to say. All right. There we go. Messy. Wait a minute. My towel keeps slipping off the rack. Sorry. Okay. Now, the only other thing I might do to this, it's really pretty and it's also going to be delicious, is to just sprinkle a little more fresh pepper on top. And if you're so inclined, you could use something like a French feta, a little bit of sprinkle on top, but I think it's overkill at this point. The flavors from the combination of the foods are absolutely delicious, and I'm going to give it a try. So I'll take it from the middle. Oh, I have to tell you, all the combinations, the lemon lime, the citrus, the cilantro, and that little serrano pepper give it some real zing. So I invite you to look for the recipe. I will send it to USA Global TV. It'll be posted. And I wish you all a very healthy and happy weekend. And remember my book. It's Yes You Can, Eat Well and Eat Right. And you can reach me at rickiskitchen.net, where food is more than what we eat. It is medicine. And I truly believe that when you read about it, you'll find out how influential food can be and how it can totally change your life when you eat well and eat right, as I suggest in the book. And remember that every one of us is an individual and we all have different tastes. So in the book, as well as here, you can season a little bit differently according to your preferences. I invite you to do that. And I invite you to come back in another month, the first Friday of the next month, which will be September. And so I invite you to come join us then again on USA Global TV at the United Kitchens. Thank you so much. Ricki Mckenna saying goodbye and have a fabulous weekend. Hearty appetite.